If you're only paying attention to the daily charts, you are about to let the largest financial institutions on Earth take over the entire next financial system right from under you. What I'm about to show you is the official timeline they're operating on, a timeline most people can't see. By the end of this, you will understand their entire playbook.
Look, the market is playing a massive psychological trick on you right now. It's forcing you to make a choice. On one side, you've got these red, scary-looking daily charts. And yeah, they're designed to trigger fear, to make you hit that sell button. But while you're busy staring at those candles, you're completely missing what's really going on. The fundamental data that proves the world's biggest banks are doing the exact opposite. They aren't selling, they are building.
So let's just break this down, because this is the twist that changes the entire game. You've got the retail reality over here, panic selling, glued to the daily charts, full of fear and uncertainty. And then you have the institutional reality, and it's the complete opposite. They are in a phase of quiet accumulation. They are building out the infrastructure. This isn't fear, it's strategic deployment. They are officially, and I mean officially, building on the XRP Ledger. And don't worry, we have the receipts.
Okay, let's get into the hard evidence. We're not starting small here. We're starting with the most powerful, the most conservative, the most systemically important players in the world, the European banking giants. And I want to be clear, this is not a test. This is not a pilot program. This is live and operational, right now.
That's right. Fact number one, Deutsche Bank. This is Germany's largest bank, a titan of global finance sitting on over €1 trillion in assets, and they are officially integrating Ripple's payment technology. You know what their goal is? To completely gut and rebuild their global money transfer system. This isn't just some small partnership. This is a foundational move by one of the planet's most important banks.
And believe me, it doesn't stop with Deutsche Bank. Now we've got Societe Generale, another monster, a $1.8 trillion giant out of France. And they've gone a huge step further. They didn't just partner up. No, they have launched their own fully regulated euro-backed stablecoin directly onto the XRP Ledger. This isn't something that's coming soon. It's live. It's happening.
So what is this thing, this EURCV? Well, think of it as a fully regulated bank-issued digital euro. The fact that it exists and lives on the XRP Ledger is an absolute game-changer. It gives every other institution a trusted, compliant, stable asset to use for real business. This isn't just about sending payments anymore. No, this is the literal foundation for a new institutional financial system being built right on top of the ledger.
Okay, so we've seen the private banking giants making their moves. But this story, it gets so much bigger. We're about to shift from the corporate boardroom to the nation-state level. This is no longer just a financial story, it's a geopolitical development, and it's unfolding in real time.
Check this out. Over in the United Arab Emirates, an asset called MXI has been formally structured on the XRP Ledger. And get this, it's been structured as a reserve class asset. This is happening under the authority of a government-backed entity, the ROC DAO. This asset plugs right into something called the Delta Wallet, which is basically a compliant, sovereign-level engine for foreign exchange. Let me say that again. A nation is building its financial future on this tech.
Listen, these are official sovereign moves that you are not going to see reflected in those daily charts, at least not until it's way too late. If you want to get this kind of intelligence first, before the rest of the market catches on, you absolutely need to be in our private Telegram channel. Scan the QR code you see on the screen or use the link down in the description and join us right now.
All right, now let's bring this whole story back home to the United States. Because while Europe and the Middle East are busy building out the infrastructure, there's a very time-sensitive catalyst brewing right here in the US that is set to trigger a massive, massive supply shock for XRP.
And hey, before we reveal the company and the former Ripple executive that's behind all of this, here's a critical alert from Crypto Global News. If you are watching this right now without a subscription, you are missing these time-sensitive alerts. You are literally falling behind the timeline. So click that subscribe button right now. Do it so you don't miss the Nasdaq listing notification that's coming.
The company you need to know about is Evernorth, and its CEO, a guy named Ashish Birla, a former top executive right from inside Ripple. So let's be clear, this is not some random startup. This is an entity with deep, foundational ties to the Ripple ecosystem, and it has been set up to be the largest digital asset treasury specifically for XRP.
How large are we talking? Over $388 million worth of XRP. And here's the kicker.
This massive stack of XRP isn't just going to sit there collecting dust. Oh no. Evernorth has a very specific, multi-stage plan to deploy this entire treasury directly into the XRP Ledger's emerging DeFi ecosystem.
And here is their official timeline. In 2025, they're going to start strategically deploying that $388 million into DeFi protocols on the ledger to generate yield. Now, the crucial point here, this is going to systematically lock up a huge amount of liquid supply from the market. Then, in the first quarter of 2026, we get the endgame, a planned Nasdaq listing under the ticker XRPN. This is being engineered to be XRP's MicroStrategy moment, designed to open the floodgates to trillions in traditional capital.
So why? Why are they doing all this? Why are the biggest banks on Earth and sovereign funds making these incredibly calculated, long-term moves? Well, it all boils down to the single biggest incentive in all of finance: efficiency and profit on a scale that is almost impossible to imagine.
Here it is. This is the why. And this number doesn't come from us. This comes from Deutsche Bank's own internal analysis. They estimate that using this kind of technology for global payments slashes their operating costs by a staggering 30%. Now, for a multi-trillion-dollar institution, a 30% cost reduction, that's not just an opportunity. That's an operational necessity. It's survival. To really wrap your head around the size of the prize they are all fighting for, you need to understand this number: $8 trillion. That is roughly the amount of money that moves through the global foreign exchange market every single day.
Okay, so now let's just do some simple math. If the XRP Ledger, with all this new institutional-grade infrastructure, captures just 1%, a tiny 1% slice of that daily FX volume, while we are talking about $27 trillion in value flowing through this ecosystem every single year. That right there, that's the engine. That's what's driving every single move we've talked about today. So let's just put all the pieces together. The legacy financial giants in Europe, they are live. Sovereign nations in the Middle East, they are building reserve assets directly on-chain. And a US-based entity is getting ready to trigger a supply shock and then open a gateway on Nasdaq. The infrastructure isn't coming anymore, it's here. The banks have arrived.
And you know, all of this leads to the final, most critical question that you have to ask yourself. The institutions, they have laid their cards out on the table for everyone to see. Their strategy is crystal clear: accumulate and build while retail is distracted by fear. So the question is, are you really going to let them take your bags right before the entire system flips?
If you found this intelligence breakdown valuable, do me a favor and hit that like button and share it so other people can see what's actually happening behind the curtain. And I really want to know what your next move is. Go to our community post, it's linked below, and tell us your strategy after seeing all of this. And hey, a special note just for our viewers in the United States, that Evernorth Nasdaq listing has some major tax implications you absolutely need to prepare for. We've broken it all down for you in this next analysis right here on the screen. Click on it.
The infrastructure is live. The banks have arrived. The choice is yours. Now, in our next breakdown, we are going to expose the specific internal timelines these banks are operating on for the next phase of their rollout. Trust me, you are not going to want to miss it.
Stay ahead in the crypto market. Subscribe now for the latest global news and updates.